Hello friends, today we will discuss one of the most important study skills required to be an autonomous learner. It's not only applicable for a student of class 11 and 12 where they are required to make notes from a given passage, but also it is very important in our day-to-day life in order to be independent learners. Now, let's see how we should make or develop this art of note making. Note making, as I told you, it's an art of being able to extract the relevant ideas or main or subsidiary while going through information, study materials, report, or reading materials. Whenever you go into a library, whenever you read a book, whenever you are going through an important piece of article or a report or something, you cannot remember the entire thing. So, to be a skilled learner, what you should do is to find out the main points. You should find out the sub-points that goes under that main point and can jot that down for your future reference. That becomes your note. Rather than going through an entire chapter during examination, if you have prepared your note properly, just by overlooking the notes, you can remember the entire thing. The gist of the entire chapter or the lesson can be known to you. So note making is an important skill that helps us to become good learners. Yeah, a few more uses of note making. It is a useful skill which helps us to remember the information that we gather from different sources by making quick revision before examination. Store supplement material taken from reference books and journals, condense lengthy lessons into shorter ones, and it helps us to understand better. These are some of the useful things for which we should develop this art of note making. Now let's see how to make notes. What are the important steps that we have to follow while making notes? So the first one, read the passage to know the theme and subject. Alright, so we have to read the passage to get a gist of the passage, to know what it is all about. That means we have to understand the theme and subject of the passage. Read carefully, underlining or mentally making notes of main ideas. So we have to read very carefully by underlining or mentally making a note of the main ideas that we have to deal with. Then we have to make note of the main idea roughly, and after that we can add sub-points which supplement the main points. There is no need to give examples, especially if there are too many. Alright, so these are the important steps that we have to follow while making the notes. What are the characteristics of good notes? What features should I keep in my mind when I make notes? Brevity. Notes should be brief and to the point. This is what we have to remember. For the purpose of examination, one thing we have to remember, rather than writing full sentences, we have to write the notes in phrases and clauses. And some of the bigger words or phrases can also be shortened, can also be abbreviated. Then, second important point is relevance. Notes should be relevant to the topic that we are reading. Unnecessary details can be avoided. Clarity. Notes should not be so brief that the clarity is lost. This is another important thing we have to remember while making the notes. Form. Logical sequence should be maintained. Notes can be made in various forms. In a sequence, in the order of importance. We can also present the notes in the form of a flowchart, in the form of a table, in the tabular form, or any other suitable methods like pie chart, alright, graphs. Those are also important strategies or forms of making notes. In the previous part, In the first one, like talking about brevity, I told you about abbreviations and symbols are very important part of notes. They have to be used when we make the notes. Logical presentations should have headings and indented subheadings. As you can see here, if note making, the point number D, it's heading, all right. Under this we have some subheadings, some subpoints, all right, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is indent. This kind of form we have to follow when we make the notes. Now, how to make the abbreviation? What particular guidelines we have to follow when we make the abbreviation? Capitalized first letter of the word, like United Nations Organization, we can use UN for that. Symbols can be used. As you can see, so many examples are given here, i.e. that is the arrow mark rising, arrow mark downward, that is falling, at the rate of, for example, equal to, circle. So many are there. Okay, these are not an exhaustive list. There are some other forms also, or some other symbols that you can use. All right. Using abbreviation like DR for doctor, FR, professor, very general abbreviations that we use in our day-to-day life also. Using numbers for figures, using the first few letters of the word like EDU for education and TECH for technical, using the first few and last letter of the word like GOVT for government and STD for standards, using the first few and the last few letters of the word like RLG and religion, LTD limited, using short words for long words like COP or policeman. Now, the marking scheme for the purpose of class 12 examination, you will see the note making, it counts for 5 marks. So how the marks are given? Title is most important part. When I will show you the structure or the form of suitable format for the note making, you will see after making the notes you have to give a suitable title. So title carries 1 mark. Then there is 1 mark for abbreviation also, and 3 marks are there for the content, logical presentation of the content, that is with headings and subheadings. So minimum you can take 3 headings, and 3 main headings you can make use of. And abbreviations should also be used. At least 4 or 5 abbreviation can be used. Now there are some other important things that you need to remember. Notes should include the main points with suitable titles, subtitles and recognizable abbreviations. I always recommend my student to underline the abbreviations used in the notes. Complete sentences are not accepted as notes. In the previous discussion also I have already told you that rather than writing full sentences or complete sentences, we can make use of short phrases or clauses. It's written, if any candidate writes complete sentences, half mark will be deducted from the total. Numbering of the point can be indicated in different ways, and these should be accepted as long as consistent pattern is followed. Consistent pattern. For example, if you're using numbers like 1, 2, 3, you can't say, you can't use after 1 A, B or C. Okay, so or if you are using A, B, C, D, you cannot use 4, 5, 6. So a consistent pattern has to be followed when we are numbering the subheadings and the headings. So this is a one format or suitable structure of making the notes. So at the top you have to write the title. I have seen some of the students also writing the title at the end of the notes with the main heading. You have to give indent. Then if you have supporting details for the subheading, again indent has to be given, main heading, subheading, sub-subheading, and at the end the abbreviations and symbol written in a box. At least 4 to 5 abbreviation has to be used. So follow this structure for note making. Now this is an example given here. You can read. Life in ancient Egypt was centered largely on agriculture. The majority of the people were involved in farming, and the growing season lasted 8-9 months. Wheat, fruits and vegetables were the principal crops, although there was some pastoral farming of cattle, sheep or goats. Farmers in ancient Egypt worked to reach a level of subsistence so that they could feed themselves and pay their taxes. During the annual flooding of the Nile, which typically lasted from July through November, farming was impossible. But when the waters receded, a thick layer of fertile silt over the farmlands remained to ensure rich soil for their crops and thick grasses for their grazing animals. Now, how can we make notes from larger pieces of text? Now, this is a small piece of text that we have to take for an example. Let's see what you have to do. First of all, you have to find out which are the main ideas or the main headings that we can make for the notes. See, I have done it for you. Agriculture, growing season, 8, 9 months. So similarly, what you can do is you can first of all find out the content word, the main gist, or the words that carries the meaning of the entire paragraph. And after that, you have to categorize those words. And for each category, important points and sub-points will be included. And that becomes your notes. As you can see here, a possible answer. It's not that it is the answer. The answer can be written in a different manner also. Means the notes can be written in a different manner. A few more important points can also be included. So this is just an example. There are so many. Let me tell you, note making, it is a skill, and skills can only be developed with practice. So in order to make good notes, or in order to develop our skill of note making, we have to practice a lot. So take a piece of writing, an essay or an article, and try to make notes using possible abbreviations, headings, subheadings. With that, we come to an end of this session. Thank you very much and have a nice day.